Give me something to hold on, something I can feel. Let me crash to the floor, at least I'll know that it's real. Rock bottom is scary if you've never been before. 'Cause it's easy to lose yourself on the way down. Let me get to the part where I hit solid ground. If I know where I am, then I can start to heal. Give me something I can feel.
A visual description of what Kruti and Richa are wearing is Kruti is wearing a red floral top. Richa is wearing a black with white dots top. Kruti and Richa are sitting on a beige couch with gray pillows to their sides.
Welcome to Breaking Barriers with RK.
KR. Kruti, question. Have you noticed that we're always in the same seat?
Okay, let's switch it up then.
Let's do it.
All right. Oh, I like this spot. I like this view.
It's nice and warm over here.
All right, wonderful.
Well, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. And this is going to be a great episode because Kruti is going to be talking about how she has navigated accommodations that she currently has and the process. So since we are going to be talking about accommodations, can you start off with telling us what accommodations you currently have?
The current situation with me working as a hospital pharmacist, especially when masking is required, the accommodation I use is to make sure that there are clear masks available. So when I'm in a conversation with somebody, they would put clear mask on, and that's one accommodation. And the other one, which is widely used now, are captions. So a lot of Zoom meetings or team meetings or even presentations, I request captions so I can kind of follow along and not miss anything.
I use captions, and I'm not hard of hearing, so it's a great feature for everyone.
Agree. That's the beauty of universal model. So many people benefit from something that is designed for one person as an accommodation.
How did you navigate this process?
So accommodation navigation, I will tell you, when I was in school, so college, I was not really comfortable talking about my disability, so self-disclosure. I was like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to do that. So that's what made it a little bit complicated. I'll tell you about accommodations is that the accommodations are out there, but in order to pursue, it comes with a caveat or a benefit, if you call it, and that is self-disclosure, because you are going to be sharing with somebody, whether that is the accessibility office or the professor you're working with or the boss that you're working with or your colleagues who would be impacted by this, that I need accommodations to do X, Y, and Z. However, they're there to help you succeed. They're there to help me achieve my full potential. And so they're not bad, but it's just that when you're talking about this sensitive concept of self-disclosure, you're going to have to be open talking about it. So I have two different journeys for my accommodation. And as people have followed along, if you know that I was not really comfortable sharing about my hearing loss, especially when I was in school. And, I was navigating my professional career. I wasn't sure if somebody was going to judge me and I was scared to be different. I wanted to fit in. So I remember at University of Toronto, they had an amazing accessibility service, and I had a counselor who helped me walk through all the options that were available. There were two options for me with, hearing aids or hard of hearing. Captions were not widely available. One was called an FM system that a professor would wear and would connect directly to my hearing aid. So I would get a direct sound from my professor instead of, all the other feedback or background noise. The other one was a note taker where an anonymous person would take notes and then they would keep copies of it, submit it to accessibility office from where I would collect. The first option included me having to go up to the professor at the beginning of every single class and let them know, hey, can you please wear this FM system? A great accommodation to have, but guess what? I didn't choose it because I was worried that I was going to stand out among this class of 300 people. She must be the one who has hard of hearing or has special needs, as we all, classify sometimes disability as special needs. And I wasn't comfortable with being labeled that. Unfortunate for me because I really didn't have that option, which was a really good option. The second option was note taker, which was more anonymous, and I went with that. I'm grateful for that person to take notes, and it helped, but it still was not, they were not my notes. They were not from my comprehension, so there were barriers there.
And it
then
was twice the work.
Twice the work, exactly. I mentioned that you have to pick up the notes from the accessibility office, then go home, read over those notes, try to make sense of what the other person is writing, and then go from there. So again, that was the first half of the journey. And then after embracing, there was an accommodation such as clear mask, which was actually not available at our hospital. But I spearheaded and contacted all different offices, patient access office, ADA task force, senior leadership, and then said, I need accommodations. I am not able to hear properly because of mask as a barrier. And so for this one, we had to create and get clear mask, and they were truly beneficial for a lot of people along with me with hearing loss. But that was the beauty of embracing, because if I had not been vulnerable, if I had not embraced my disability, then I wouldn't be able to fight for what I needed. And now, even with captions, I request captions, but there are times, especially in the beginning when captions were still coming on, I remember somebody calling out in the audience of 100 people, can you please turn on captions for Kruti? And it's almost like, oh, thanks for pointing out that I am the one who needs captions. However, there's so many people who use them, especially to take better notes and to go back to lectures and make sure that they're not missing anything. So anyway.
How did that make you feel?
It was uncomfortable because as much as I am advocating for accommodations and captions, I'm not a troublemaker. I'm not trying to be the odd one out, right? Like I'm not trying to be the special person who everybody's making an exception for. I'm just requesting something that will put me on the same leveling playing field as other people.
And when they pointed out it was for you, it was like bringing attention, like you said.
Exactly. In the moment, I was uncomfortable. But I think there's no growth in being just comfortable every day in, day out, right? I think growth comes from being uncomfortable, speaking up for yourself, and even if there's an uncomfortable situation, how do we navigate that?
Looking back, if you could do anything differently, would you?
Yeah, 100%. I've reconciled with my past, meaning that it was a journey. I was, learning how to navigate the space. Yeah. I had no regrets over how that journey kind of went on. I'm just happy that I'm at the phase where I can openly talk to Richa about some of the difficulties that I've faced. But so looking back, I would have gone with the FM system, 100%, back in college. But I think believing in yourself was important at that time. I just needed that shoulder and support.
Yeah. You have been breaking barriers, though. I just want to let you know, Kruti.
Yeah, that's right, girl. Love that.
Okay, so for the last question, if there are leaders and managers out there and they want to make sure that they are accessible in every way possible for their employees and just for anyone, what can they do with the platform they may use?
First of all, I give a lot of props to those leaders for even asking that question and making sure that they can create an inclusive and accessible platform. One of the things that I have noticed that works really well is that before any meeting, before a huge virtual presentation, or even an interview, ask a few, like 10, 15 days ahead of time or whenever the planning committee is going on, ask the audience, ask the people on the other side to see if they have any requests for accommodations. Keep it open. And then post-event survey or post-event feedback and being open to listening to how we could have made something better. I think it's important if it's a program or anything that is designed for your employees, get their feedback in and also out so you can make your successive events more inclusive. captions are so easily available. Just enable them, whether or not somebody needs them or not and request them or not. There are sometimes people who have low vision or need visual description. So provide that visual description on your social media platform if there is an image, or if there is a talk that you're about to give your visual description of what you're wearing and what background you're against. That way, people who have visual disability can also feel included. And one thing to say is that language is constantly evolving. The way we're doing things is constantly evolving. Not to say that one was wrong and the other one is right, but just being mindful of what is current and what are the needs is most important.
Do you have any last thoughts?
I think I want to mention that when you get accommodations, you feel, or you're pursuing accommodations, there may be this nagging feeling that's making you feel like, what if other people are perceiving that I am getting special treatment or favoritism? I just want to remind in that situation that it's good that you're trying to be mindful of other people, but I think it's important to have this mindset in your mind that accommodations are not favors. They're not special treatment. They're your right. Having a disability is putting you at a platform that's unequal, that's not fair. And so all accommodations are doing is bringing you to the playing field. So if you think about it, ask yourself again, who is at a true disadvantage without accommodations? Is it you or the other person? And once you do request accommodations and you get them, it also shows the message that the department or education, that legal system, healthcare system should be inclusive, and that we should be mindful of other people's needs.
I think, access is definitely something that needs to be equal all across. So yes, if somebody can access information, then that's not favoritism in any way.
Right.
Thank you for sharing all your journey with accommodating and your accommodations that you had before disclosure and the accommodations that now you have after disclosing, and how it was looked differently with those two different systems.
Thank you, Rita, for having me and for having an honest dialogue about accommodations. Next time, we will be asking Richa about her journey with accommodations, and if she had to pursue, what type of accommodation did she pursue. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you to Mandy Harvey for giving us permission to use her song Something I Can Feel in our intro.